Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. If you haven't done so yet, go make sure you check out AM Sports Media Cover 4. That is our new college football channel where we cover nothing but college football. We will pin the link to the channel in the comment section. Make sure you go check out college football, AM Sports Media Cover 4. So, Jay, I want to hop into this. Now, Michael Benson is reporting this, Jay, and it feels like Canelo Alvarez is giving Terence Crawford more bad news as it relates to May, and more than likely beyond as well, just based off what Canelo Alvarez is saying here. Now, we know that Terence Crawford has been positioning himself to get the opportunity to face Canelo Alvarez for quite some time now. Started shortly after the fight with Errol Spence. Initially, he wanted Canelo Alvarez to come down, meet him at a catch weight. He said weight classes were for a reason. And now he is saying that the biggest fight in the sport of boxing currently is Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Leonard Ellerby would disagree with that. He is saying that the biggest fight in boxing currently is Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. And I think we know why, because the Mexican and Mexican-American community will come out in droves to support that particular fight. And we haven't seen Terence Crawford's fan base yet. The operative word in what I'm saying is yet come out and support him to a level which would make this an absolutely huge fight, right? So what Michael Benson is reporting, he's saying this is coming from Box Azteca. That is the, I think that's the Mexican television station. I saw one called Azteca Deportes as well. But of course, we don't speak Spanish, so of course we're not listening to these shows. But according to Michael Benson, he is saying that Canelo Alvarez has now shot down a potential fight versus Terence Crawford and said it won't be happening next. I have everything to lose and nothing to gain, because if I win, they'll say, oh, he was too small. Jay, that sounds strangely familiar because it's come out of my mouth several times. Now, we know, well, I won't say we know because this comes from somebody, I'm not going to even mention his name, but they are saying, it's out there, it's reported that Canelo Alvarez's guarantee is $35 million. So he's getting 35 regardless. So you're going to have to make enough money from a pay-per-view perspective to satisfy not only Canelo Alvarez's guarantee of $35 million, but you got to pay the networks. You got to pay for the undercards. You get what I'm saying? Like you got to pay the promoters. Everybody has to get paid. And Terence Crawford, I think in his last fight, I don't know exactly what he made, but it sounded like he made, maybe like around 20. All in. So if you take both of those numbers, you're talking about $55 million just on fighters' purses alone. Yeah, that's a significant dollar amount there. So which means that Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez would have to sell upwards of, $1 million or so. Let me do the math on that real quick. So if we're just talking about $55 million at $89.99 for the pay-per-view. You talking about 611,000 pay-per-views just to cover the fight purses, and that does not include. And that's if Crawford gets a $20 million guarantee, but that doesn't include anything else. So where's the upside for Canelo Alvarez? And that's what I keep saying. There's nothing. If I'm getting this money regardless, what's the upside in fighting the guy? If I beat him, they're going to say he was too small. If I lose to him, then my career is over. What is, and I'm not saying that Canelo believes he's going to lose to him, but what is the upside? You got to give Canelo upside to make that fight. Because if I got to hear all the BS in regards to, well, I just beat the guy, but he was too small, I want to be compensated for it. And I would challenge anybody in the comment section, because I know that this is coming, is if you truly believe that Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is the biggest fight, and we know that Canelo Alvarez, well, he doesn't mind taking fights that are slanted in his favor. If the fight is that big, why has he already taken it? So, Jay, what's your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, it's just solidifying what we've been saying since the very beginning. Hell, even Bud mentioned that, basically saying weight classes are made are there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then all of a sudden it just changed within like a week or so. So then and then the Bud Maniacs went crazy with that as well. You know, this is why I didn't want this fight, because it's 3 weight classes difference. You know, you have to Canelo has to have a reason to fight you for legacy or money, usually money. And usually he always likes to take a chance when it's standing his side. But here he's not getting nothing out of it. He's not getting a belt. If Bud had a belt, then he could slant it that way, like when he did the Euro diet, picking certain people to fight for those titles.
Yeah.
The whole Mel thing, people gonna say, well, he fought Jamel. Jamel wasn't a 168 pounder. Jamel was just recently undisputed. So they used that, and they used the name of Undisputed versus Undisputed at 154 versus 168. Undisputed at 147 versus Undisputed at 168 is still a huge gap. It's an extra weight class away. You know, we're looking at 21 pounds versus 14 pounds. That's a big difference. Big difference as far as weight. We know as far as stature, they're about the same height, but Canelo's a lot stockier than Crawford. He's been fighting out higher weight class for some years now. Crawford's never fought above 147. So, I mean, again, Canelo doesn't have – I'm not mad at Canelo for saying what he won't get any credit for beating Crawford, because he really won't. You know, we know what Crawford does skill for skill, but, again, they make weight classes for a reason. There's a difference in that. Also, I'm happy about this, not against Bud. I'm happy because now it's one less person in the equation for Benavidez to hopefully get a fight. That's why I'm happy for Canelo taking this stance and saying that he's going to fight American, whether or not he considers Benavidez Ecuadorian, Mexican American. I don't know what he considered him, because they kind of try to, you know, throw shade on Benavidez heritage and whatnot. But we'll see on that. But this right here, I'm kind of happy about this. But if they do what I think they might do for who he's going to fight in May, it's still not going to be good enough for me personally, because it's not going to be Benavidez. But he's right about this. He's not going to get any credit for fighting beating Bud, who's 3 weight classes lower than him.
No, he's not going to get any credit, and that's going to be some of the fans of Terence Crawford that are going to be in the comment section talking about, well, if the fight is so big with Benavidez, then why hasn't Canelo made that fight yet? And you know, my thing is, it's the biggest fight. It's the biggest fight. Biggest is relative, right? When you say biggest, it means it's being compared to something else. You know what I mean? So I think it's the biggest fight. I think it may not still I think that fight still wouldn't satisfy Canelo Alvarez in terms of the overall risk associated with the fight versus the upside. So that's probably the reason why the David Benavidez fight hasn't been made quite yet. But I still believe that the Mexican American community will come out in droves to support that particular fight, Mexican and Mexican American. And so I just see that fight being the bigger fight. Now, will it satisfy Canelo to the extent that he's getting a substantial amount more in that fight versus what he's guaranteed? Who knows?
It probably would, because Benavidez may take less. I think he'll take a lot less than Crawford would, because of what Crawford has already gotten in his last fight. You know, Bud's going to use what he got last fight to put himself like, look, I need money. I just did something no one thought I could do. Most people thought he was going to win that fight anyway, but the way he did it was something different. So, I mean, he got 20 plus million. So why would he take a step back, you know, for 5 million, 4 million, 10 million? Benavidez may do that.
Back. No, I agree. He's going to try to prevent from taking a step back. As much as we say, or much as his team say, it's all about legacy, and that's directed at Bernie, who's been in the comment section. It's definitely about the money, and there's no shade. I mean, it should be about the money, and I'll have no issue with that. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to what Canelo Alvarez had to say. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are